Good morning.
Good morning,
This
everybody.
Rest Sunday. Um, it's a great day to rest and have coffee. And it's also, I wish I was just not in jeans and in sweatpants. But I will be. I will be
Yeah.
after this. But thanks for joining us on the live and just taking the time out to spend the next, 45, I don't know. I ramble, so
Yeah.
maybe 40 minutes with us.
Yeah.
But we definitely miss you. Miss being in the room for sure.
I love it. You have enough coffee?
I mean, it's fine. I'm on my third cup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we are excited to jump in with you guys. We're excited that you get to rest. This is our Sabbath Sunday. Even though we're resting, even though you're at home, Jess and I still want to bring you a really interesting conversation today. We want to talk about healthy marriages. What does that look like? A lot of you have posed us these questions, and we wanted to honor those questions and bring you just our perspective, a biblical perspective, our life perspective on how we can answer some of these questions, on how do we find our future spouse in this world of just options and temptations. How do we find a God-honoring spouse? What do you do if you've been divorced multiple times? You're like, man, marriage is obviously not for me. Or you're really isolated and you're alone and you're like, man, I don't even know if I can get married. I don't even know if that's going to be like God's plan for me. Or how do you honor God if you have a spouse who's not honoring God? How do you honor them without disrespecting your spouse? Which that's a really good question. So we want to jump in today, give you our perspective, and just a little bit just kind of have a starting point. Jess and I have been married for 15 years, going on 16. And you were how old when we got married, babe?
23.
And
I just turned 23. Fresh 23-year-old.
And I was how old?
20.
You cougar.
We're only 2 years and 3 months apart.
Rawr.
Gosh. He also lied about his age when we first met.
True.
May never have happened.
Because
No,
if I
I'm
told
kidding.
you would have not even given me the time of day.
Potentially not.
And I was in high school, my senior year when we got engaged. The guts that you had to come to my high school graduation,
It was tough.
you were a keeper. It had to be tough.
It was just...
It's weird. Where are you going? My fiance's high school graduation.
We were so young, so I feel like the whole process of being so young and being engaged, everything was a little exciting but weird, if that makes sense. It was just a weird,
Yeah.
scary season
Yeah.
of life.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you were states away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have a cougar, this amazingly attractive girl that somehow likes me, and I'm afraid I'm a loser every single day. I'm a poser. This isn't real. It was hard. It was hard. What made it so the whole dating aspect was hard. I was dumb, immature kid, way over my head. This very mature girl that I'm dating, very secure job, owns her own double wide trailer. You were ballin'.
It was awesome.
And I'm dumb. But there is this vulnerable part of our lives, though, which I think is really interesting. I had just a string of bad relationships. I was dating the really wrong people. But I got to a point of just frustration. My own sister had to be like, "Hey, your girlfriend was arrested. She's in the she's in the newspaper, or she's calling girls and telling them off," and just making everything else a priority other than the Lord. And I got to a point where I'm like, God, I have to just. It's like this crossroad of I'm in these toxic relationships. And do I want to date girls who are for X, Y reason, just not the people that I should be dating? Or am I going to get serious with the Lord? So I just remember praying this prayer. Lord, I need you to give me someone that I can love ridiculously a lot. I really need to love her, but in a way that's healthy where I can love them, but I can honor you. But I need someone that I can really, I remember praying that prayer over and over and over. God, I want to honor you. I need you to bring her to me because I'm not picking winners. So Lord, I need you to bring her to me and give me someone that I could just love like I love you. But what I didn't know is there's a Jessica in Northeast Ohio, as I'm in Muncie, Indiana praying. You're in Northeast Ohio, but what you praying?
I was praying that I just wasn't really interested in I mean, I had kind of settled for not interested in dating or a relationship. Um, but my prayer was the only person I would date is if God just brought me someone who loved me more than I could love them back. Honestly, like just someone who made that easy, that
Yeah.
chose me head over heels type of thing. There you are.
What's funny though, and I think that's something that we learned is, which is going to go into our question on, and I'll just kind of roll into it and I'll chime in a second to kind of give you what did it look like when we got engaged. I want to ask you, I want you to kind of jump into this, Jess, and kind of roll off with it. Is the first question is, what if you're not married and you're longing to be married? You're not married and you want to be married. What should someone do with that? Like, you're at that point where you're just like praying, God, I cannot find the right person for X, Y, and Z. I cannot find a man who loves you, God. I have all these wannabe boys posing as men, or maybe you're a dude and you're like, man, I want to find me a wife that will honor the Lord, and you're struggling to do that,
Right.
or you're in this just loneliness season and you're trying to process, is marriage for me? What would you tell individuals that are struggling with that?
Yeah. It's such a very big, important question. And it shapes your entire life. So it's fair to ask, and I think you should. So just to teach for just a moment, I think I'm going to start with 2 scriptures that you guys can hold on to for a lot of things in your life, but just looking through this lens of what if you're not married and that's just a big desire. But we all have something, so you can lean on these verses for anything that you're just longing for. And that's going to be probably very consistent as we just live life.
Yeah.
One is Matthew 6, verses 33 through 34. And it's one that we all know as, if you've spent any time reading your Bible or in church. And I was just at a ladies' event this Friday, one of our small groups. And this was just a central theme that we spoke about too. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow. I love that part of it.
Yeah.
For tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So I love that. It's just like today is just a day. We're sad. We're heartbroken. But there's hope that will come if we're just trusting and following his ways, following God. And we'll talk more about that in just a minute. But the second one is Psalms 37, verses 4 through 5. And I skipped a little bit to verse 7. But take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Another power verse that we hear, but take these to your mirrors, ladies. Just to talk to the ladies for a minute if you need to. Write it with lipstick, if you wear lipstick, on the bathroom mirror. And they're good ones to continuously remind yourself when there's something that you have this big longing or desire for. But take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will do this. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways. And I'm just going to end it at that line, because that could be a whole message in itself, not even about marriage, but
Yeah.
we always feel the pressure to do what we see family and friends and other couples. Like, people could even look at us, and that's something that they're comparing themselves to. And please, like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because we all have struggles and pain and things that we're longing for. There's no perfect marriage, but one thing that you do want to focus on, and especially when you're asking this question, you're praying about this question, and you're putting it before the Lord, ensure that your alignment with God is right, that he's first, that we are living a life surrendered and just laying it down to Jesus. Like that's our goal, right? So we had written down here in our notes that marriage cannot be the goal. Singleness is not the goal. but it's all about becoming obedient to Christ. And a big piece of this is people cannot fulfill you. Your spouse actually cannot complete you. I think there was a movie, Tom Cruise, where he said, "You complete me," Renee Zellweger, whatever movie that is what I think of, just kind of reading through our notes here. But I love that because so many of us, and this is for men and for women, but obviously I'm just speaking to the ladies a little bit more. Sometimes we sacrifice just who we are, like even down to how we dress, how we talk, things that we allow. We allow our relationship with Jesus to just be backburnered, right? That's the exact opposite of a healthy marriage. And honestly, for God to give you, I mean, he literally says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and things will be added. Yeah. So we have that misalignment, and the word literally tells us that. So Matthew 6:33 through 34, he does want to give you all the things that you're praying for, but it is him first. Yeah. So what do we say? He's a jealous God. Oh. And it's all eyes up on him. Yeah. Chasing after him. And then these things will just, they're going to happen because it's God's plan for you. So, doesn't mean it'll happen today, tomorrow, next month. So we have to live. And that's where Psalms 37, 4 through 5 and 7 is to trust him and to wait patiently for him. So good, right? Yeah. And that's not me. That's just Bible. Yeah. Amen.
But it is you because that was your position. Like you were willing to wait.
Exactly. Willing to wait. And so the other side of this is Brandon and I just have chatted for the last 15 years. Yeah. I really did put less of my focus on dating and relationship and all of those things. And it was just like, Jesus, it's all you. I'm going to live a life independent. I'm fine with waiting. And I actually, just looking back, I know I kind of was coming at that decision, though, through a lens of, I actually had been hurt. I'd seen my family just walk through a lot in my later teenage years, early 20s. Broken marriage, broken family, I'd had my heart broken as well. And so that's really where that prayer came from. And then boom, I literally met Brandon months later after that prayer had been prayed. But I was just telling myself really, hey, I don't need relationship. All I need is myself and God. And I've said that a lot through our marriage even, which is not healthy, right? A lot of that is just pain and protecting yourself. You'll say things like that, like, hey, I'm going to be this independent lady. I'm going to make a lot of money, and I'm not going to worry about marriage. I'm not going to worry about relationship. It's me and God. We're going to do our thing. And so part of that's good. I think God was proud to say, like, yeah, you're sort of on the right path, but you're also looking at this or coming at this decision from a place of it's not true. You're just in denial about pain that you don't want to address. And I'm praying this and I'm saying this to people that I don't want marriage, I don't want relationship. It's really out of just a broken place. So be careful of that too. Sometimes that can kind of bleed through, especially when we talk about marriage and we talk about love and we talk about relationships. It's such a vulnerable place. Yeah. Just all the way around, where you have to be vulnerable. And sometimes we really struggle with that. So we put these shields around us of like, I don't need that. I don't need to be married. Singleness is my goal. Yeah. But is it true? Might not be.
I think a point that I'd add to that is be careful that your relationship status isn't more important than your spiritual status.
Exactly.
Like your relational status becomes an idol. Mm-hmm. Like you're making that the biggest identity of your life. And you're more proud of your relational status more than your status with Jesus.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Your relational status, like you fill that out, it's I'm married to Christ.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
Yep. Exactly. So just some additional notes, and then we'll wrap this up and kind of move into our next, kind of wrap a bow on question 1, because I do think it's a big one, and we know a lot of people in our lives where marriage has been a thing that they've longed for, and it's just taken longer than they expected. And just remember Psalms 37, like we've talked about several times. be patient. Trust the Lord. Let him know what those desires of your heart are. But trust him in the process, because his plans are good. He loves you. He knows exactly what you're longing for. Sometimes that won't come, though, until we stop putting the emphasis on that thing and we live content and we live like truly patient, loving and honoring God with what he's given us, because we all have something to be thankful for, even if it's just breath in our lungs to praise and worship the Lord. Even if it's just that. We're alive, we're here, we've got friends, we've got family around us, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but we just want to honor God in that waiting. We want to wait well for what we're desiring, and just live in contentment. So I'll read just the last piece of this, because I do think this is really good, and we put a lot of just emphasis on, if we could just get that, we would be good.
If only this happened. If only that happened.
Only this or only that. And it's just not true. We're like tricking ourselves.
If I could only get my man, if I could only find her, then my life would be so much better. Mm-hmm.
So being alone is hard, but being with the wrong person because you've rushed the process and you've gotten in front of God is harder.
Preach.
Marriage it just won't heal your loneliness, but it will expose your brokenness.
Oh, that's good.
That's like a mic drop right there. Loneliness is never a good reason to settle in a relationship. So sometimes we do get so lonely, and I do understand. I mean, I absolutely understand that. That's a painful, just hard feeling to deal with.
Not to draw that out, but it's kind of like you are reverse of that, though, because of the brokenness, because of the loneliness that you've seen in your own family.
Correct. I wanted to protect myself.
you ran the other way with that.
I did.
Interesting.
I did. But Jesus affirms both married faithfulness and single devotion. And as you were saying, your relationship status does not define your spiritual significance.
Yeah.
Like your relationship status, there's no who's the better Christian, who can do more ministry.
Yeah.
Like any of those church things that you've put on yourself, because you see couples and you hear the terms like power couple, and we're going to go do this thing, and I don't know, slay demons and whatever we want to put on top of that. You don't have any less significance or less value because you're single.
Yeah.
You're powerful, you're mighty, you're strong, and all of those things are true. But I think that's probably good.
Yeah.
On question 1,
yeah.
I'm thinking. So I'm going to ask you a question.
Thank you for those responses, Jess. That was good. That was really good.
You're welcome. I was rambling. It's fine. I never get to do this. So
no, I know. That was really good.
Time too long.
That was good.
Okay, what does a healthy marriage look like?
Good question. So I was telling us about you and I. I look back at, like, Jess had her prayer, I had my prayer. I remember an extended weekend I got to come up and spend with you and your dad. And I had to travel back to Indiana for work. Mm-hmm. And you guys, I remember specifically, you guys went to church. I had to get back for school and work. And I remember you guys left, you and your dad, I being in the living room of your trailer, and I had this weird sick feeling, and it made me drop to my feet and my knees, and I just, like, it came out of me weird. I'm like, God, if this is the girl I'm supposed to marry, take the sickness away. And I remember praying it, being like, that was weird. Why would I say that? And the sickness goes away. And then just having the drive home and my little broken down Saturn being like, that is so weird. And just being like, why? But I felt like this peace. I think any marriage, before you say I do, it has to be built on Christ. That is my conviction. You will never know what true love is until you understand the love of God. The definition of love is God is love. So if you're really going to love your spouse, it has to be built on the foundation. When we purchased this home, we found out that the foundation wasn't right. So if your foundation is like, the house was slanted going back. And so the condition of the home was based on the condition of the foundation. The condition of your marriage, how it's built, is all on the foundation, on how you're going to build that marriage. So what is a healthy marriage? There's plenty of marriages that you can define as healthy, but later on, they're not. So here's a really interesting statistic. But when it comes to like married and non-married people, marriage, even inside the church, 50% of those marriages end in divorce, same as outside the church. Why? If you're not building the foundation of your marriage on, you can be in the church-going people, but you've not built your marriage on Christ. There's a really crazy statistic that a couple that ends the evening in prayer and devotion, the divorce statistics drop drastically, because I am building the identity of us. Like the Bible gives this really cool picture of, you leave your mom and dad, you cling to your wife, and you become one flesh. So your problems are my problems. My problems are your problems. It's not just your anxiety on your own. If it is, I'm a bad husband. Vice versa. If I'm not running to help be in the problem with you, then it's really not a marriage. It's a partnership. So there's things that I look at, if I'm honest, that we are so quick when we're looking at, oh, will you marry me? Like the courting phase, the dating phase to engagement. We can be so quick to say yes. We're not asking God if it's blessed. So before you get down the aisle and you're saying the I do's, if you're getting to the point of engagement, why are you so quick to say yes to somebody? And you're not, okay, Lord, is this who I'm really, like God has to be a factor in the marriage. God has to be a factor in the dating game. And I think we get so quick in the dating game, I'm not even asking the Holy Spirit, God, is this the person I'm supposed to be with? And if I'm being honest, there is some like DNRs that you need to be putting on some relationships right now. You're resuscitating a relationship that God is doing everything he can to pull you out of. So how do we have a healthy marriage? It first starts with, what is the foundation of your relationship? Is it Jesus? Healthy relationships are not looking to take, they're looking to share. So right now in your marriage, if you're like, man, I feel like my marriage isn't healthy, how often are you dating one another? Like how often do you and I go on dates right now?
Once a week.
Yeah, and what does that look like for you and me?
Oh, it's different things. Like sometimes we just get popcorn and we bring it home.
Yeah.
And we bring food in. And it's just like, we try, definitely a problem for him more than me, but try to put our phones down.
Yeah.
And have good conversation. And then we both relax over, it's just fun to watch a movie. So we're both big movie people. But we can laugh and just be in that moment together. So they're simple. And then sometimes it's just going to get a coffee and then going for a drive. That's lately been a way to get out of the house and just, it's nothing, right? It's just quality time. So
yeah,
pretty simple dates.
It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Like you don't have to be dropping hundreds when you go out. It's about intimacy. Right. How do we, like you said, like I struggle with putting my phone down.
He does. Amen.
How do you find that alone time where you're like, man, even if it's for 30 minutes, even if it's for an hour, who can we drop the kids off with? And how do we get away? Like 777 is a big thing. Like every 7 days, you're taking a date night. Every 7 weeks, how do I have a whole day away with my spouse? That's something we try to do. And for us, a lot of times it's like Sunday afternoons. We're putting our phones on Do Not Disturb, and we're gonna go try to go see a movie if we can, right? Every 7 months, if you can, take a vacation. Define what vacation looks like. It doesn't have to be Disney World. It could be finding a super duper cheap hotel, taking a picnic to the park, going out by the lake, whatever. But you have to have a rhythm where I am dating my spouse intentionally. If you can schedule anything else, you can schedule dating your spouse. So I'm dating my spouse. I am keeping the foundation of our relationship on Jesus. And yes, I'm a pastor, but I'm going to say this, like church is not an option. We go together. Reading the Bible isn't something that we do in isolation. No, we pray together. We're studying together because we're building the identity of our relationship together. And I'd say this too, stop keeping score. Like, you get mad at me, I get frustrated at you, but there's no scoreboard. Like, I'm not bringing back the past and I'm throwing it in your face, and vice versa. And I say this just to give context.
We usually forget we're mad.
Yeah.
And then we just start talking. So that's so true.
Yeah.
But that's like just being good friends and enjoying each other's company.
That's good.
So
it's not just loving your spouse.
yeah.
It's, man, you are my buddy. Like, you are, and I mean this, like, you are my best friend. I share everything with you. You're the first person I want to tell about anything that's exciting, because you're not just my wife, you are my best friend. And so I'm not keeping score to throw things in your face. And if you get to that point where you're like keeping score, you need to get on your hands and knees and you have to ask God to forgive you and check your heart, because that's where it's at. Like, why am I in the relationship with this person in the first place if I don't enjoy them? So healthy marriages come with a constant heart check. And I would say this, more than any other person in your life, you have to be praying for your spouse. So for me, like, there's a rhythm to my day. As I'm getting up, I have a checklist of things that I'm praying for. But one of the first things I am praying over is my wife. As I lay down at night, I'm laying next to her, like, yes, I cuddle with you. But I am literally putting a hand as I'm stroking her hair, rubbing her neck. I am like, Lord, bless my wife. I want her to be favored today. I want her to be blessed. There's like a list of things, and I'm actively praying over my wife because she's my friend. She is the love of my life. But here's the key. Jesus is the center of our marriage. It's the center of our relationship. My heart wants to see her succeed. But above that, I want to see Jesus bless her. I want her to fall in love with the Lord. I want to see her relationship with the Lord grow deeper than our relationship, because a byproduct of your relationship with Jesus growing is our relationship grows. Because the more affection that you have for the Lord means the more affection that you'll have for me. The more alone time that you'll have with Jesus is the more alone time that you and I will get. Right? What do you think?
I love it. I think it leads perfectly into the next question too.
Yeah.
So
it does, because from your perspective, knowing this, why do you think relationships fail?
So much of what you said is why they fail. So it was a perfect just leading us right into that. It's not balanced properly, right? So that's so much of what you were saying of, and I know it sounds churchy to say, but if I could beg you to do anything, and we'll talk about this later on in the just conversation here. I know sometimes you might be in a relationship where the Christ-centered piece of that, maybe you've been married a long time, and again, stealing some thunder as we get going, but I do want to just like encourage you to say, we've been blessed that we both knew Jesus. We've grown a ton in our marriage, but we both knew Jesus when we met one another. So that conversation of keeping Christ in the center of it on both sides was a little easier for us.
Yeah.
And there are situations where you want that so much, but your spouse might be a little uncomfortable with that notion of pray together. That's weird. Read the Bible together. I don't understand it. So again, stealing a little bit of thunder there, but I can't really say enough. Even if you're just holding the fort down and you're praying over your spouse and you're praying over yourself for growth and patience and more love and just showing the love of God to your spouse and extending grace and extending just that extra patience and love and care before you just come at them with harsh words, as we all do in relationship, living closely in a marriage. That person gets the brunt of everything that is the worst part of you.
Yeah.
Like your spouse gets the brunt of every frustration, like truly in those worst settings, you're walking through that together, and right or wrong, they're seeing that side of you.
As a woman, what do you need from a man to hear from them? For me personally,
So I'm not
Yeah.
not going to be a super teachy answer. But as your wife, I think the biggest thing that I need is intentional time, like feeling like I'm being heard and not feeling like I'm crazy, even if I sound a little crazy with whatever I'm struggling with or struggling through.
No, this is good.
Yeah. So I think just feeling like I'm heard and honestly just not judged. Or I'm married to a pastor, so our thing is don't pastor me in this moment, because I need someone to just hear me freak out. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. I'm freaking out. It could be my hair's not right. That was me this morning, by the way. It could be my outfit's not right. It could be just feeling down on yourself. I feel ugly. I feel worthless. I'm not keeping the house up enough. Like, we talk, and I know guys do this too, but I can just speak from a woman's perspective. We are so mean to ourselves. And to have someone like your husband, who really is and should be your best friend, sometimes you just need to vent that stuff out and have them understand. And he's gotten a lot better at that. He still sometimes is like, I know you don't want me to be your pastor.
Yeah.
But there are times where I do need him to pray for me. And there are times, and the beauty of that between a husband and wife that can pray for one another, he can come close. He can put his arms around me and he can pray for me in that way. And so that's another thing that I would say I do desire, is just to feel safe, just to feel heard but also protected. And that's something that
Don't mistake intensity for intimacy.
Right.
I've learned that the hard way. Where it's like I'm coming on too strong.
Amen.
It's like, Brandon, just be in the moment. Like, I don't need to say anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, nothing. Like, it really is a hard lesson.
There's nothing for you to fix.
No.
It's just for you to be there and maybe buy me cheese dip and coffee.
Yeah.
That helps.
And I think for men,
yeah,
like, we need affirmation from our wives, from our spouses.
Yeah.
There is a complex, and I know it drives some women mad, but it's just the truth. Like, we are wired different than women.
Right.
And there is a part of me, I value your opinion of me more than anybody else's. So there is an ego that I'm like, man, I really need you to speak into me. And when you're pointing out and pinning the negative things that I do, I'll always feel like a failure. And why would I strive to be what you are labeling what I'm not? But one thing that you have done really well is you have noticed when I'm down, and you will just pick me right back up. And you've always spoken directly into who I could be, even if I wasn't that man yet. But you have spoken into who I could be, and the man who you've seen me into, because I have been a person who has not necessarily had my ducks in a row, not the most organized individual. But it's really on your shoulders that you have spoken into me, even when I wasn't that individual. You have given me the affirmation that I've really, really needed. That's to your credit, babe.
Thanks, And that is so important, ladies. We've learned that over such a long time of being married now. And so you do have to practice it. You have to be aware of it, because you're no longer just you, but you're a unit. You're in marriage with one another. You're one. And that's just like the most intimate place to be, and just such a close relationship, that because of that, it hurts a lot when I don't give him what he needs. And I've learned that. I've said harsh things and I've had to apologize, but it's still there, right? So you're growing past that, and you're getting better at not speaking through frustration, but always trying to look through the lens of loving your husband well and encouraging them. So, I mean, and it's in the little things, like even as of this morning, I was frustrated about something dumb.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's just like those little life things, and you can move past that stuff very quickly on both sides. But it's just like he said, even on Sundays after he preaches, he really wants me to be invested in giving him feedback. And so I've had to learn that. If I just say he did great, which he probably did, like, man, that was amazing. That was such a good word. and I love the whole thing. But sometimes when I don't, he's really looking for me to break that down and be invested in giving him solid feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly. And he's looking at that from me. So just kind of taking it as a, just an honor that I get to do that, and he values my opinion. So your husbands need that, and they need the encouragement. Not always to be beat up. Sometimes us ladies can be a little critical, and we know it. I'm not dogging you. We know it. It's just a thing. But why do we think relationships fail? You want to wrap a bow on that? We rambled a lot. But
No, I think honestly it's going to tie into our next question really well.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, we covered we're not doing great sticking to our notes, but it's fine. It's just it's flowing.
Yeah.
All right. How do I put God first without putting down my spouse? We really did lead into that.
I really think so. How are you serving your spouse?
Yeah.
And I think, how can I honor God without putting them down, especially if my spouse is not serving the Lord like they're supposed to? It starts with pride.
Yeah.
Because you're judging your spouse. Now, you can judge righteously, because especially if you're like, my spouse has sin in their life and they're not wanting to acknowledge it. But let's not even get that far yet. You're just stronger in your faith than your spouse is. And for whatever reason, they're struggling it. And you feel like, how can I honor God without dishonoring your spouse? Serve them. As you would serve Jesus, as you are faithful in your pursuit with Jesus. Let's just describe that. I'm faithful going to church on Sunday. I'm faithful in serving my church. I'm faithful with my Bible reading, or I'm listening to worship music.
Right.
And you are making this list of how good you are. And now you're judging your spouse on they're not doing the things that you are, and so you've judged them. Okay, but how have you served them? It goes back to what we were just, how are you speaking into your spouse to be the person that you want them to be? If you are constantly reminding them of how negative they are, or how they're losing, they're not meeting up to your expectations, and you're doing it in a derogatory way, they will never do it. And if I could just speak from a man's perspective, a really great way that you could lead your spouse is, honey, I think it's so great. Like, I have the best weekend when you go to church with me. Yeah. Like, I love our time. Speak into that person. Or, I mean, I love when we can just read I know you may not love it, but I love when we can read together. Like, I love it. Right. Speak into what you want them to do, and you're doing it in a way that's healthy. It's productive, and it's not really manipulative, in the sense of tearing them down will never get you the results that you want. So it kind of comes back to that foundation. You've been married, you're there, expectations aren't where you want them to be, but how you argue and how you disagree, how you handle the conflict matters. In the sense of, if I'm going to come up to Jess and I'm frustrated with you because I didn't think you were being the best representation of Jesus in that moment, the one thing that I'm not going to do is scream and holler at you, because how am I being the best representation of Jesus to you when I think that you failed? Amen. So I can be honest and I can share my heart without being a jerk. And I think that's what we miss sometimes, because you love your spouse so much and you want them to meet the expectations, you unintentionally tear them down. And you miss the whole point, is I have to serve you as Jesus served us. Jesus came and died on a cross. He was willing to go the distance to prove his love for us. How are we willing to do that to a spouse who's not where you feel like they need to be? Well, number one, how are you serving them as Jesus has served his church? And a really great example of that is, if I'm going to serve like Jesus, I have to love like Jesus. And if I'm going to love like Jesus, I have to speak like Jesus, is what we just said. But I just want to read this to you. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 7. And this is a verse, I want this, if this is something that you're struggling with, this needs to be your life verse. And you need to read this every single day. And you need to ask yourself after you read it, how am I doing this for my spouse? And it says this, love is patient. Am I being patient today? Love is kind. Have I been impatient? Am I been rude? Am I mad over something that does not matter? How many times we ask that? Like, we get frustrated over the stupidest stuff, and then we have to end up laughing about it because, like, we were mad
Over, like, I don't know, putting laundry away.
Yeah,
You know,
dumb.
it's usually small.
So it's that reminder, like, would Jesus be mad about this? It's like, love is patient. I have to be patient with my spouse. Love is kind. I have to be kind, speak kind. Love is not envy. What am I envying? Like, why am I envying what? It does not boast. Am I literally being proud? It's pride in a lot of ways that you think that you're better than your spouse. And you're not. I got to kill my pride. And I love it. Do not boast. It's not proud. It does not dishonor others. Are you dishonoring your spouse? I love that. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. Why are you so angry? Pride. Kill it. How do I kill my anger? How do I kill my pride? You need to spend time with Jesus. There is a moment and a point where you say, I got to sacrifice whatever it is that I'm making more important right now, and I need to give this over to Jesus. How do I give it over to Jesus? Pray. Verbally ask, Lord, take this anger from me. I am so angry, and I need to be vulnerable. I need to share it with a trusted friend. I am angry about this thing. Help me. Pray with me. We're going to give it to God. The other way, serve. You will kill your anger by serving your spouse, doing the dishes, doing the laundry, cooking the meals. I am not looking to receive from you. I'm looking to serve you. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It's always protecting. It's always trusting, always hopes, always perseveres. I keep coming to the table to love you because that is what God has called me to do. I'm not keeping the wrong things that you've said of me. But to be honest, over 15 and a half years, we have said some really hurtful things to one another. No one will hurt you like a spouse will, but no one can love you like your spouse will. So how do I put God first without putting down my spouse? How you speak about them matters. You cannot love the Lord and spew all this negativity to your spouse. Now I question your devotion to the Lord. Because if I really love the Lord, it's not about serving the Lord, it's about loving him. Because if I love him, my servanthood, my devotion to him will be pure. And then how I love my spouse and how I serve them, it will be pure. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does.
So,
especially, I mean, it's like equally as important if your spouse doesn't know the Lord, and you're leading that for your family. You're growing in your faith. I mean, to not show those attributes could be really detrimental because you're the key thing that they're seeing that is a representation of God.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
That's good.
And it's perfect taking us into our final topic. And this was a big question. And so hopefully we can just wrap up and dig into what does evenly yoked mean? Because it is kind of like a weird churchy term, in my opinion. But I have heard it my whole life, so a little bit more recognizable to me. But we're going to dig into that. And I did, like on that last question, just to say too, I know I was kind of joking around. We fight over little things like laundry, but as we know, the longer you've been married, you actually go through very big, just huge things that really put a strain on continuing to speak like Jesus and love like Jesus and honor your spouse. Like, there's hard things that you really are frustrated by, big blows like grief and loss of job. So just we kind of made light of it a little bit there, but just to say, like, that gets harder to live by when you are both in a really just difficult space. Yeah.
We really get that term, like, evenly yoked. It's New Testament, it's Old Testament. I want to read to you just the New Testament. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, it says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers. That's like number one. Hey, you're really going to have a hard time if you believe in Jesus and then you go get married to someone who doesn't believe in Jesus. There's a warning right now that the Bible's giving us, that God is giving us, like, hey, you don't mesh. That's not going to work. So it starts off saying, don't be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness? Paul's writing this, but he's actually taking an Old Testament verse, which we'll read that in a second, from Deuteronomy, And he's bringing it into a New Testament perspective kind of for us. And he's really hitting like three things here in 2 Corinthians. He's really basically saying, hey, really, you got to look at your character and look at their character.
Right.
Where are you at in your maturity versus their maturity? Like, you're going to struggle a whole lot if you're not evenly yoked. Well, in the dating game, like if I'm dating someone and I am so much more mature than you, you're going to have some issues. Like my character, your integrity. This person has a lack of integrity. Your capacity. I can do so much more than they can, and that's a red flag. I'm going to be pulling so much more emotional weight, the physical weight, and it's not even not about finances, right? But it's more of, is this all going to be just on me in this relationship, and they're not in? When it comes to calling, like if you're ministry minded, or just when it comes to your values of how you look at family. Like, how am I evenly yoked? And this is what he's referring to in Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 10. It says, don't plow with an ox and a donkey together. And you're like, bro, Pastor Brandon, what does that mean about anything? Let me just break it down to you for just a few minutes. He's like, don't plow. Like, if you're going to plow the field, don't grab an ox and a donkey together. Just here's some notes that I wrote down about it. Putting these two together will always equal different production. Be careful of who you dating. Be careful of who you're chasing, because what happens is you lose discernment and you're going in two completely different directions. The way that an ox pulls and the way that an ox works is so much different than a donkey. You are so polar opposites. You're like, oh, we attract. That's not the point. The point is, if you're with someone who obeys differently with you, there's tension. If you're with someone who pulls the weight of life different from you, there's tension. The way they carry life different from you and how they communicate, it's different. You're heading maybe in the right direction, like, oh, we go to church together. Oh, we pray together, but the way they see Jesus is completely different from you. So it's not even always that, oh, I'm an unbeliever and they're a believer, but you don't even have the same values, the value structure of how you see Jesus, and there's tension. And I'm finding out you don't compromise the same way that I compromise. And it becomes destructive. The way that I go, the way that I operate, the way that I obey, the way that I discern, it matters. We're going in the same direction, but my stopping point is completely different in how I communicate it versus you. Let me say it this way. We have two different appetites. And because we have two different appetites, we're arguing over the menu. Mm-hmm. We're arguing over what we're going to eat. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. That's a really good way to just make that more simplified too, last point.
You have two different work ethics. Mm-hmm. So the way that I'm going to solve the problem is different. And we've had those issues. The way that we're going to see it and view it. But what we've learned is, how do we compromise? And I'll give you another verse. Amos chapter 3 verse 3 says, how can two people work together unless they agree? Evenly yoked is, man, we are coming in agreement on what we believe, on what we pursue, and how we do life together, which goes back to this warning. Are you so desperate to just have someone to do life with them, you end up broken with them, versus being healed with them? So being evenly yoked, it's not just like, oh, we believe in Jesus. What Jesus do you believe in? Oh, I go to church. What church do you go to? Like, I have to iron out and just do before I'm dating someone, I just want to know you. Before you and I really dated, we were friends. And we asked very practical questions of one another. How did you grow up? What did that look like? We asked
It was similar, luckily.
Yeah, very.
Which I guess is why God joined us together.
Absolutely.
One of their things.
Because when you do that, you're figuring out what is our pace of life.
Yeah.
Don't do life with someone.
Priorities?
Yeah. Don't do life with someone and you find that your cadence is off. Mm-hmm. One thing I joke about when me and her take walks around town, Jessica has a huge stride. And so it's like, girl, slow down, and we walking, but her stride is off. But because we're evenly yoked, she's like, oh, cool. So she slows down, and we match pace. You need to do life with someone who matches pace with you, and they're not upset with you for it. Even though my pace is set to go quick, no, I'm going to reset my factory settings. I'm going to go a little slower because I love you. And I'm invested in doing life with you where you're at. So being evenly yoked, if I could just really define it, really, 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 really simple, is I'm going to relate to someone who loves Jesus the same way that I love Jesus, because we both relate to God. God has a calling on our life. He wants us to do life with him. We honor God, and we have the same value system. We have a future that we want to plan together. We're being evenly yoked. And I'm staying away from relationships where, man, this isn't meshing for a reason. Their value system is kind of whack in the sense of like it's not mine. It doesn't relate. So it's relating to my assignment. That's important too. Like it's not that you're career minded, but where your careers are going, where your passions, there's alignment there. And this is the bow that I would put on this. When you find someone who loves God and who loves you, they're on pace with you. I had a calling on my life. I knew it was to be in ministry. But there came a point where Jessica walks up to me. She has a phone call. Again, we live states away. We're engaged. And she's like, I can't stand my job. I'm working for Verizon. I'm climbing the ladder. But I can't have Sundays off. I'm never at church. She's like, I'm exhausted. I don't know what to do. Like, you were working like 7 days a week a lot of the time. So we prayed. This is what it looks like to be evenly yoked. My first gut feeling from the Holy Spirit is like, we pray. On the phone, states away.
We're just dating.
Yeah.
That's a fun way to start.
Yeah, we're praying, Lord, you honor our prayers.
Right.
She can't even go to church. Give her a new job. Not to tell the whole story, but to save time. Man walks into your Verizon store, is so impressed. You sell him a line, right, for his company, or is it for his family?
I just upgraded some phones.
Yeah. He's so impressed with you. Says he wants to hire you. Does he give you his business card, or has someone call you or something?
Yeah. He gives me a business card.
You forget about it, right? And then you tell the rest of the story. I don't want to steal your story.
Yeah. I just basically, a job opportunity landed on my lap, as a lot of you have probably heard that story. But that is a part of our testimony, as Brandon's kind of tying that together, because it was one of the first big things that we really did go to the Lord about, and just, even at a young age, and we might have even been a little bit naive about that too, because it's like, what can't God do? We're excited, we're getting married, and we're going to pray about it, just so, we're going to pray about it together. We were excited to do that, and then we did see God move right away, which did have it kind of put us on a different pathway, which I think is what you're getting to, because we weren't able to move. It kept me in Northeast Ohio. And now we can see even really the reason for that we stayed.
Oh, yeah. Like, our plan was to move to Columbus. Right. And I heard the Lord say, no, this is going to be a season for her that I'm going to promote her. And it was literally me having to take a step back.
Yeah.
My dream had to die so her dream could live. So our first 13 years of marriage was literally me submitting to her dream. And this is why that's so important. If you are a knee-jerk reaction person, you'll miss the relationship. Mm-hmm. If you let the reaction die and let the relationship develop in the sense of, Lord, I'm seeking you, let the reaction settle, let the relationship build, that's what's going to happen. But then as Promise Co became a dream, roles begin to shift. Jess is like, hey, I've been the primary focused person. Brandon has served me, and it's been about how does this job take off, and it has. Now we felt the shift of, hey, we're leading you to Texas, which was very emotional in itself, but the emotions had to settle, and the relationship got to develop. So evenly yoked is, man, how does ministry, your passions, how is my value system, what is Jesus, how is this all in line? Family structure, how are we in line with one another? And we'll end with this, Jess. Okay. What is one thing that you've learned being married to me over the last 15 and a half years?
A bit about football. So there's that. I actually know who the Green Bay Packers are, because I had no idea, actually. I feel kind of ashamed to say that.
Yeah.
And I have learned I've really grown in my relationship with Jesus a lot through our marriage, just because you've led me in that way, honestly. So I'll give you some credit for that. Don't get too emotional over there. A lot of times I try to lean on my own self, as I think we all naturally do. We want to kind of control things and we want to figure things out. But definitely being married to Brandon has taught me, okay, maybe we should not do that. And we should truly lean on the Lord and go to him and just lay it at his feet, right? And then just watch God move and expect him to move and figure it out, where we don't have to figure all of that out in the natural on our own. But then I would also say, being very independent, I've learned to accept love and care from Brandon, because remember at the very beginning, God, just give me someone who would love me more than I could even love them back. And so God did that tenfold in Brandon, as a lot of you guys see naturally. But he loves very well, and even when you don't think you need it, I feel like you're going to get emotional over there. He's definitely broken down the walls, and I have learned it is nice to be taken care of.
One thing you've taught me is communication. I've been horrible at communicating, especially when we've been arguing. You're like, just tell me, even if it hurts me, even if it frustrates me.
Just yell.
Just yell. And I've always been a person who's like, I'm going to bite my tongue because I'm afraid that I would say something that I didn't mean or regret. And you've been a person that, you have been such an amazing wife to be like, no. You can communicate clearly. You don't have to say something that's dumb. You don't have to say something in anger. And it's been the best thing for me is learning, I mean, how do I communicate you in real time? So we don't have that, a week has gone by and I'm not even giving you a kiss like I love you, or I haven't even verbally said I love you because I'm mad. And that's been something that I struggled with in our early years, immaturity, and just some bad examples of how do I deal with anger, how do I deal with frustration, how do I communicate with my wife when I'm frustrated. You've done a really great job of just meeting me in that frustration and forcing me to be honest with you and to communicate with me. And there's so many other things on just how being a person to just own my stuff and take care and manage my life. You've been literally the best bride that I could ever have. I love it. So Jess, we're going to do this. Would you pray us out?
Sure. Real
quick. Cannot wait to see you guys back in person this coming week at Promise Go. We have an amazing message that we want to preach to you about the gap of sanctification, because there's some of you, you're not where you want to be yet. We kind of talked about today on some relationships, but you want to grow in your faith, and you're wondering, man, how can I be the person that God calls me to be if I'm not living that way right now? I'm still dealing with some sin. I'm still dealing with the old me, but how can I become the person that I want to be? But you feel like you're stuck in the gap. We want to preach to you that next week. Bring a friend, bring your family. You don't want to miss it. Back in the theater at Jubilee at 9 a.m., 10:30. Jess, pray us out, girl.
All right. God, we love you. We thank you, and we praise your mighty name, God. Thank you for all that you're doing in our lives. God, thank you for just hearing our prayers. You know it before we verbalize anything, God. So I just pray for the people who are listening that are longing for relationship. They're longing for marriage and family and just, a life of loving you, doing ministry together, whatever that dream is when they think of, this is what I want. God, I pray that you would meet them in that place. God, I pray that you would really just rest with them in that place, that you would give them peace about it, that they would have patience and they would have such bold trust to just wait in a contented way, and just wait patiently, because God, we know that there is nothing that you can't do. You want to bring everything and add all of those things that we desire to us. You want to give us those desires. But God, I pray that we would look to you, that we would just be obedient to you, that we would follow your promptings, that we would read your word, that we would pray, that we would praise your name, and that when that alignment comes with you and you truly are first, God, that you will bless these lovely men and women with the spouse that you have for them, God. I pray for the people listening who have been married for a long time or even newly married. But God, for those people who have they've been in the trenches, which is not a bad thing, of marriage, and they've been through a lot of ups and downs. They've been through a lot of pain together, a lot of joy together. God, I pray that you would bring peace to their hearts and to their minds, that you would soften any bitter and rough edges that have built up, and that you would start to just radically bring joy and bring strength and just bring any healing that needs to take place around their hearts and around their minds and around that marriage. God, you love marriage, and I just pray as they try to repair and as they try to honor you, that they would be so richly blessed with a beautiful God-centered marriage. And God, that is a miracle that you can bring. And sometimes it's something slow as you just naturally walk them through and as they're leaning into knowing you more and more. God, I pray that as they look back, even if it's not where they desire that marriage to be, it's not the pinnacle of that dream and of how they will operate in marriage together, I pray that they would be encouraged by just the steps that they have taken and by the healing that has already taken place. Just encourage them in where they're at and give them hope of where they're going. But God, you are such a good Father. Your plans for us are beautiful. They are good. You know exactly what they are. So I pray that we would rest in the confidence of the God that we serve, that you hold today, that you hold tomorrow, and that there is just hope for a beautiful future. In your mighty, precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. See you guys next Sunday.